Kids are in bed?
Kids are in bed.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 44 of The Kids Are in Bed. I'm Tim Severson, and this is Jenni Severson.
Hi.
Jenni.
That's kind of fun to say. Episode
44.
Okay.
44 weeks. How are you?
You know what? I'm great, except for my neck really hurts.
Yeah.
I'm too old to be going down water slides.
Yeah.
I think my head just was wobbling all over. You know, I have a bobblehead.
You do have a bobblehead.
So my bobblehead doesn't really do well on the water slides.
No.
My bobblehead is no longer bobbling.
You're built for the car, where you just kind of you're like those dogs that they used to put.
Okay, so
Would you rather not be able to whisper or not be able to hold in laughter? Like anytime you laughed, you always were laughing, like at your maximum laughter.
Not be able to hold in laughter. What do you need to whisper for? Telling secrets? Would you like to share with the class?
I mean, there are times when whispering is beneficial just for your own,
Wait, I think I just did that backwards. I meant not whisper.
Yeah.
Did I say that wrong? The one I would choose was to not be able to whisper.
Yeah. You feel like you don't need to whisper ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I might have did that backwards.
But, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one. Sometimes you kind of need to whisper. There's things you just rather whisper and not say out loud in front of everybody.
Like what?
I don't know. I clogged the toilet. Where's your plunger? Like,
why don't you just ask someone to come in the other room with you? Excuse me. Will you enter the foyer with me, please?
but see, even that, then you're drawing attention, because as soon as you split up, somebody's going to be like, what was that? Why'd you have to go to the foyer? I just want to be able to come and be like, hey, where's your plunger?
But I feel like when you whisper at someone, that also draws attention. They're like, what are those two whispering about?
But if you do it slyly, like I have a direct, now this didn't go as planned because it turned out my friend couldn't whisper, but I just was in passing, like I was going into the fridge. I'm just like, hey, where's your plunger? And so I reached for a beer and he goes, did you clog my toilet? And I was just like, that's not what I was going for.
Is this a true story?
Yeah.
Oh no, that friend sucks. He needs to learn how to whisper, I guess.
And he was like, I don't have a plunger. So, but had it been received, it would have, it's just like a quick whisper. But I would rather not say that aloud in front of the class. That's the best example I could think of. Is something that was embarrassing to me. It's not really something that I'm trying to tell a secret about. I'm trying to keep a secret about myself. That's where my head went.
Got it.
Yeah.
I went more to, I can't think of a reason why I would want to hold in my laughter. Because even if I try to hold in my laughter, it's just going to come out anyways. Yeah. Every time I've tried to hold in my laughter, it makes me laugh harder.
Yeah, well, I just think there's so many times where, again, I in the car when we have to tell them they're being inappropriate, but they're being funny, and we have to hold it in.
That's true.
Or when you're at a wedding ceremony or a funeral or someplace and something funny happens, but you're not supposed to laugh, and it would kind of ruin things. Like if you just had to just laugh at full volume at every.
That happened to us at your niece's dinner play. What was it called? It was like we were served dinner, but there was like a show situation going on.
Oh yeah.
Magicals?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a magical evening or something, yeah.
It wasn't really a play, and it wasn't really a concert.
Yeah.
It's like
it was a dinner show. It was a dinner show.
Yeah. Well, do you remember we got the Laffy Taffies during that? We were supposed to be quiet, but and it was whispering that caused it. Some guy, is this what led you to this question?
No.
Some guy was trying to whisper, but he didn't know how to whisper, and he just spoke the sentence out loud, but you could tell that he thought he was whispering.
Yeah. He just changed the way he talked. He was talking at a normal volume, and they just started going, "What is this all about?" Or,
He needed a pen. Didn't he? He was asking for a pen.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you pass me the pen?
Yeah.
But it was so loud, but you could tell that he thought he was whispering, and it made us laugh so hard. But you're right, laughing at that moment was not appropriate.
Right.
Because it would ruin everybody else's experience.
Because we would have been the assholes, even though we weren't the ones. We're the people. It's like in sports. It's always the second person who gets the personal foul for shoving. Everybody would have looked at us like, how inappropriate are you?
Yeah. All right. Ooh, geez, Louise, I need to reevaluate this.
It's a tough one.
You never said what yours was.
I'm still thinking.
Oh. Never ask a question you don't know how you would answer. Don't pose a question to somebody and not be prepared to answer it yourself.
It's a hypothetical.
I know, but when you pose it, you should already have what you would answer back.
Oh, why?
Because it's guaranteed that it's going to come back at you.
Oh.
You should have an answer. I mean, you asked the question. Just saying. I choose never be able to hold in a laugh.
Yeah, I think that's mine too. I laugh loud enough, hard enough that I feel like I could just start to get away with it, and people are just like, that's just what happens. And I need to be able to whisper. I need to be able to to keep my stuff on the DL.
Clementine just asked me one of these up in the bathtub tonight.
Oh.
When she was taking her daily tub.
Yes.
She said, would you rather have no hands or no feet? She originally started with no hands, but by the end she had switched to no feet because she resolved that she could put her ankles directly into shoes and nobody would know.
It's like the first time, like when she gets comfortable with somebody and she's like, okay, you're not going to believe this.
Are you ready for me to take off my shoes?
She hobbles over. I don't have feet. We know, Clementine, we know. Yeah, I think no feet is the only option on that one. I think having hands is definitely the superior of the two things. Although I hate to see them go.
Yeah.
Should we talk about our weekend? We teased it last week. Our long weekend of Thanksgiving in Wisconsin Dells. Where should we?
Your beard's a little long. You growing that thing out?
Just a little.
Is that a vibe you're going for?
It was actually intentional for the football game.
Oh, okay.
Since it was going to be colder weather, I let it out a little bit more. But let's talk about the Wisconsin Dells before we talk about the football game.
Okay.
We stayed at the Wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Let's lead in with overall out of 5 stars. What do you rate?
What day is it?
Yes, that is a fair point.
It started off, overall, I would rate it very high.
Yeah, me too.
So it's our 3rd Wisconsin Dells water park that we've been to. And the only time we've ever done indoor only, though.
Yes.
So not a fair comparison. But comparing indoor to indoor, I liked how this water park had multiple smaller water parks.
Yes.
They're like more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
The Kalahari is so big.
Yeah.
You can't really stay connected with the people you're with.
Yeah.
You end up with just like one other person and who knows where everyone else is.
Right.
But this had 3 small water parks and the kids could run around, go down slides by themselves, and we could find them in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Also, 2 out of the 3 water parks were very warm. The air.
Yes.
Which I loved. I'm a freeze baby.
Yeah.
And it was almost hot at some point.
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it was, that place is very big.
It's almost like a wilderness, you would say.
We walked, but you can get everywhere inside, which is key. It was
Key.
Cold when we were there. I think on Thanksgiving it was like 20 degrees. Friday got it a little bit colder, but so if it were warmer, you could cut across the parking lot and shave a little off. But at one point we walked from the one water park on one end of the resort indoors all the way to the other one. And my watch clocked in and said, "Oh, it looks like you're taking a walk." And so I turned it on just to see how far it was, and it was 0.6 miles that we walked. And
it's a long ways.
It is. And they have all sorts of stuff. Go-karts and mini golf and climbing walls and a jungle gym and a rope course.
Multiple arcades.
And
they make you walk through the arcades to get to the water parks.
Yeah, you have to walk through everything. You have to walk through the restaurants, the candy shops, the ice cream. You have to go through it all. And
it's almost like they designed that intentionally.
Yes. And nothing is reasonably priced. It is obscene what they charge for things. But we crush that by bringing...
We packed all of our food. Yeah.
And
we didn't buy a single food item other than treats. All we bought was treats.
Yeah. It was incredible. We had it crushed.
We were so good at packing food for water parks.
Yeah. The only things that we bought, the candy. Mm-hmm. They had candy bars that had tickets in it.
That was fun.
And that was our hack for the arcade. Instead of spending money on games, at least you get a little chocolate back. And we got more tickets per dollar.
We spent $40 at the arcade to get 135 tickets.
Yeah.
And every chocolate bar was $6.
Yeah.
And was 250 to 900 tickets.
Yeah.
It was so much more economical.
Yeah. We spent $40 on chocolate bars and we got like 4,000 tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't even make any sense. I was like, why are people playing these arcade games?
Oh my God. We didn't talk about this when you were figuring out how to spend all of the tickets that we got. They have those games, where, I guess you swipe the card, but they actually have physical coins in there, and then they like shoot out, and you're trying to get them to like stack up, and then they push stuff over, and then you win rewards.
I remember those games.
I never really fully understand how. I was watching this woman play, and I'm like, I don't understand how what is happening or why this is entertaining to her. I watched her. It was 6 credits of play. She was probably like in her 70s maybe, and her son, I think, who looked to be around our age, was just sitting there watching, and then she'd like run out of plays, and then he'd just swipe again, and I think I saw him swipe it at least 10 times. And it's like, and I think she won like 400 tickets. Like, she wasn't it wasn't like, oh, she's winning all this stuff and
strange circumstance,
throwing money away. And so, yeah, we were very fascinated in the people watching and how people just toss their money away.
Just throw their money away.
Yeah.
I think we bought one drink, alcoholic.
Yes.
And
yeah, I went to the swim up bar one time on Thanksgiving. I went in the morning and got a cocktail at the Wild West swim up bar.
Just hanging out at the old Wild West saloon, sipping on that pool drink.
And But we got there a little late. It was like 9:30, I think, and it opened at 9. And there was a guy already sitting down at a table next to us, and he bought the souvenir hurricane. And these things were giant.
Huge.
And we did a lap around the park. Did we go on a slide?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. We went on
we were just checking out what was in
Yeah,
there.
we went on a lap, and then we got the kids all set up to go swim, and we sat down for a minute while they went to the kids area, and we both looked over, and I was like, did they move? Because his drink, I mean, not only was it empty, I mean, it was empty. There wasn't a drop left.
Yeah.
And then he went and reloaded, and then we went on some water slides and came back, and he was empty again. And he went and got a third.
How much booze do you think is in those?
I don't think a lot, because it's just the tap thing.
Yeah, maybe they were virgins.
And I think they just throw, so maybe they put in a shot or two.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a lot.
That's so much sugar.
Yeah, that's the more appalling part. So, and I think I saw it was $29.99 for the first souvenir purchase, and then you got a discounted refill of $16.99 a go. So that guy, I mean, by 11 a.m. on Thanksgiving, he was already down $50 in sugar. Just crazy. But we had a great time.
I was very proud of how we spent our money there.
Yeah.
Because you could dump so much money into that place.
Yes.
We could dump so much money into that place.
No, everybody.
And
yeah,
we got some Dippin' Dots, some chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Clementine got the missing body parts gummies.
Yeah,
those were disgusting.
Body part gummies. That was great. So her brand to do that. No, it was, everything about it was great. It's all a little worn, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And they do really take advantage of you. They kind of lock you in there, and they had a cafe that had real Starbucks, which was nice. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing I think where we spent kind of in excess is we
daily Starbucks.
Yeah, got a couple of Starbucks, but they had a little convenience area, and they had those little plastic bowls of cereal where you just rip off the lid and pour it in. It's $5.99 for a cup of cereal.
Oh my god, that's outrageous.
Even Jude understood how outrageous that was. I'm like, you can buy a box of cereal, a family-sized box of cereal.
That's crazy
for this.
I'm glad we didn't eat their food though, because I'm sure it was awful.
Yeah, nothing looked good.
I mean, we didn't try as much as a French fry.
Yeah, we really didn't.
We didn't have a single piece of food.
And that's not like us either. Normally we cave. That was good.
Yeah,
that was
I'm
good.
proud
We
of us.
did a really
We did
good job
good.
that way.
Yeah. Then we went to the football game.
Yeah.
Quick drive. It's a perfect trip.
Yeah.
It was fast to get there. It was only 3.5 hours.
It was what, 55 minutes to get from Madison to...
It was an hour.
An hour? Yeah. And we
beautiful Wisconsin countryside.
Yes. We'll talk about the drive back. The weather was a concern. And it was always my concern from the get-go with this trip was if the weather is miserable, I didn't want to put you guys through that. And so it seemed like it was going to be very cold. I think the feels like temperature was supposed to be in the single digits, but I bought a parking pass that was in a garage, which actually was great for getting ready since it wasn't cold and windy.
It was so warm in there.
And so the problem with that was I had to put on everybody's boots, including yours. And I was sweating before we even got outside. And Clementine's legs were hurting her because we had put too many layers on.
Too many pants.
Too many pairs of pants. So so I carried her probably a quarter of the way or so. And because we had to walk, 10 blocks maybe?
Enough
And-
to make me and Jude both sweat.
Yeah.
We were both sweating inside of
Yeah.
our clothes by the time we got there.
It's such an awful walk too. Like the way that stadium is positioned relative to the fun of campus is just like you don't get any sort of college vibe from that place.
Yeah. There was crowds everywhere.
Well, yeah,
you know I love crowds.
It's the walking. There is something cool about that. Like everybody's kind of walking in the same direction.
Yeah. You don't get that at
And it's a
TCF
more
or
and it's a
Huntington
more
Bank.
spread out kind of small tailgates kind of all over the place.
Yeah, the tailgate situation is strange.
Yeah. It's a very the stadium's just kind of plopped in the middle of a neighborhood.
So there isn't like a tailgate lot anywhere?
I don't know.
I didn't see one.
I think so on the website there are definitely like official lots that have tailgating. So they're bigger surface lots, but I think it's kind of how it used to be when we tailgated by the Metrodome. That like it's a lot of like businesses that are closed that have
Use
their
their parking
lots used for tailgate.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I thought I was not cold at all.
it actually turned out to be good. It was windy, but somehow the sun kind of helped balance it out for a while. And then once we got in the stadium, the wind really wasn't a factor all that much. It was just kind of a breeze. It wasn't
not at
gusty.
And we were winning the entire game. It's really fun to be leading at all times.
Yeah, well, so let's talk about Camp Randall Stadium. Your impressions of the stadium itself. Walking in, what did you kind of?
So you were describing to
experience?
me on the way that you couldn't see the field from the concourse.
Yeah.
And I couldn't like wrap my head around what that looked like because I'm so used to TCF or
Oh,
Huntington
yeah.
Bank. I'm like, what do you mean? So I was expecting it to be way worse.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what do you mean you can't see the stadium? That doesn't make any sense. But then when we got in and I remember, I was like, oh yeah, this is what our stadium used to look like.
Yeah.
There were not very many lines, which I really liked. To get
Yeah.
into Huntington Bank Stadium, you have to stand in line for a long time.
Right.
We didn't stand in line at all. You just walk right in.
Yeah.
And even
They're much and always have been much lighter on their security.
yeah, they didn't look inside my bag.
It is
Yeah.
just nobody bothers you at all.
Yeah.
You just walk right through.
Yeah.
So that is helpful because there are some heroes in the security department at Huntington Bank Stadium.
Lost some water bottles.
Yeah, a lot of heroes. It's an older stadium, but they've done the updates that they've done are kind of cool. They have the Amazon concessions.
Mm-hmm. There was no line to get into that.
Yeah.
I don't know if people just don't know how to use it, but I went in there 3 times, and
Yeah.
every time you just walk right up and walk right out.
You
It's
just swipe your
fantastic.
credit card to
Yeah.
get in, go grab your stuff, and walk
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
that was super cool. And yeah, never a line really was
The
helpful.
only line that I saw was for ice cream.
No. There were I heard many conversations about that. There was an ice cream and coffee stand side by side. And what happened was the line, somebody started a line for the coffee going in front of the ice cream, and then people got confused, and then the lines converged, and there was a big to-do. I heard somebody talking about it when I was going to the bathroom.
It was a long line.
Yeah. And like
I was like, what are these people doing?
I heard somebody in the men's bathroom say, it was like, well, who would be waiting in line for ice cream today? And it was like, somebody was
That's what
in
I
the
was thinking.
middle of it. Yeah.
But I literally was walking out. I was walking out to go get more beers,
Yep.
and I saw 2 people walking in with ice cream.
Yeah.
And I was like, who in the hell would get ice cream today? And then I saw the long line, and I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
everybody's doing it. I thought maybe it was like a rite of passage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clementine wanted some.
Yeah.
I had to talk her out of it.
We got tickets. I found tickets on StubHub that I thought were a decent deal. And I've sat around the stadium a little bit to know what it's like. And So I thought these are $90 a piece, sixth row. Sounds good. So we shuffle in, and when you walk in, you are walking it's like you're walking onto the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
and
cool.
so Jude really liked that, and then we had to walk kind of in front to get to our
That was a weird little
seats.
detour we had to take.
Yeah. And I started to get nervous that I made a mistake because I was like looking at the numbers because they have tarps laying over sets of bleachers. And I was like, well, how could I have screwed this up? They clearly don't sell those. How could I have bought them? And it turned out we had seats. We weren't in the sixth row because the sixth row is the first row. And for a second time in our life, we've accidentally bought front row tickets.
How many people have accidentally bought front row tickets twice? I feel like we might be doing something wrong.
And I'm thinking about this right now, but how packed in those bleachers are, it made our life so much easier with the snacks and everything, being able to set them down underneath that.
Those seats are crowded.
Yeah. Yes, they are tight. I wanted to talk a little bit about the axe.
Okay.
And just the game. For those who might not know. I don't know who that is, but you never know. And you probably will learn some things. Did you know that it hasn't always been for the axe? The rivalry. That there was a different trophy for a short period of time. It was a slab of bacon. And after a game, I forget the girl's name, was supposed to return it. And there's a disagreement over exactly why it didn't get returned. Some say that our coach at the time denied it, and some say it was never delivered, and it went missing. And so it was found later in their storage in Camp Randall.
What?
In 2000 or something like that. And so it went missing. This was in the 40s. And when it was found in Camp Randall.
Went missing for 60 years?
And then when it was found in Camp Randall, in 2000, the scores had been updated on the axe up until 1970. Or on the slab of bacon, on where they kept them. So somebody knew. And I don't know. I actually didn't know that part of it, or if I did, I forgot. So I don't know if there's a story about who it actually was. But yeah, so the slab of bacon is rightfully ours because we won it, but it remains in the Wisconsin athletic facilities on display now.
Boo.
Exactly. See?
Boo.
Exactly right. We boo Wisconsin. So this was the 134th meeting between Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Quite the tradition.
It is the longest running, continuously played rivalry in college football. Since college football restarted after the year or two stoppage when it was deemed too dangerous. So, but then we figured out it's not dangerous. Nobody gets hurt playing football, and away we go. And so yeah, it's been going on, and as you said, this year the Gophers beat the Badgers handily.
Row the boat. Skayuma.
That evened up the series. So it is now in its existence 63, and 8. Tied up. It was the first time since 1984 and 1986 that Minnesota has won in consecutive trips to Madison.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Good.
In the last 32 years, the Gophers have only beat the Badgers 8 times. And I have been at 7 of 8 of those games.
Nice. Good for you. We had a bit of a poor performing spell.
Yes, to be sure. We won when I was a freshman in college. My first game against Wisconsin as a freshman that I saw, we won. And then we would go on to lose 14 consecutive losses.
That's a lot of losses.
Some of those were embarrassing blowouts. Some of them were the most heartbreaking losses. There have been some just terrible games, but since PJ Fleck has come around, it has been crazy.
What year was that?
PJ Fleck was hired before the 17 season.
Oh yeah, look at him go.
Yeah, so he's owned him. But yeah, there was a long run of a lot of bad years, and this was a fun one. And so we were in the front row. I reviewed the film. I didn't watch the whole game just to see if there was an instant where Jude was on TV or Clementine, but for whatever reason where we were positioned, there wasn't a good camera angle there, except for at one point I bought Clementine M&Ms and she had a Jolly Rancher in her mouth and decided, well, I don't need that anymore. And so she just took it out of her mouth and threw it on the tarp in front of us. And it was just this bright green thing sitting there. And I think Jude and Clementine realized that they could hit the tarp and it would bounce and kind of go down. And I think it started with us going, guys, don't. And by the end of it, all three of us were hammering on the tarp, making it bounce down. And there was a kickoff that happened, and I could see all of our gloves just slamming the tarp to make the Jolly Rancher slide down. So that's really all we got there. But we were on the rail when the axe got brought around. I got some good video and pictures of you and Jude slapping hands with all of the Gophers as they made the round around the stadium. It was very fun.
It was very fun, yes.
What'd you think of your first road victory against Wisconsin?
Just delightful.
It's
well, we were crushing them.
Yeah.
We were winning the whole game. So I would rather be winning the whole time or losing the whole time. So I just feel like my emotions aren't being toyed with.
What did you think of the in-stadium experience relative to Gopher games?
Well, our seats were better.
Well, right. I meant more like the overall ambiance of, what did you think of Jump Around?
You were disappointed in Jump Around.
I was.
That we didn't get the experience because they were losing the whole time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, people weren't mean to us.
No.
The stadium was empty by the end.
They all went home.
So I don't actually think I got the experience.
Yeah.
Because they were not in it.
Yeah, there are times when, and it was, the student section was very empty. And I do think part of that is because they're not very good. First losing season in 23 years. They didn't make a bowl game. The student section was very empty relative to what it could be. And so we've been there. I've been going to every one of those road games since like 2014. For a decade, I've been making that trip other than COVID. I've been there for a couple of games that were for the Big Ten West title to go to the Big Ten championship game. And for those games, when it's crowded, and those games were close too, and when it goes to the third quarter, the concrete is shaking. I mean, it gets crazy.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
And yeah, there wasn't the vibe. I mean, it was probably the saddest Camp Randall I've seen in the decade that I've been going. It was bad. But yes, you are right. When they are bad, they are so friendly. The better they get, the meaner they get, which it's usually the inverse.
Yeah.
It's usually the other way around. But man, it was, everybody, even the guy, I got the guy next to me to say "Go Gophers" at one point. He was wearing all red.
Oh, wow.
He told me not to tell anybody.
You just did.
Oops.
There was also a lot of couples that were rooting for opposing teams. I
Yeah.
saw a lot of Gopher Badger couples.
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, we know one.
She wore a Badger shirt to that game, remember?
I'll never forget it. No, it was amazing. I was so happy that the weather wasn't miserable. I was really very nervous about that.
Yeah,
I was
that's
thinking of all sorts of contingencies, but it ended up being great. It even snowed a little, which I love when it snows a little bit during a football game. And the kids did great.
What happened on the ride home?
Oh, so we were riding home, and it was actually very beautiful. It was a beautiful sunset, but we were going through kind of farmland.
Oh, yeah.
And there was just a really heavy manure smell through this one section of highway. The smell came into the car, and Clementine just goes, What is that? And I go, that's just how Wisconsin smells. And she was just like, oh, I hate Wisconsin. And then she just started getting more aggressive about it. She was just like, oh, it smells so bad. And then she just had this like guttural gag burp. She almost puked in the back seat from the smell of Wisconsin. And I've never been so proud. It was so funny. She has a pretty severe gag reflex.
Yeah.
She gets herself pretty grossed out.
Well, it did smell really bad.
It was awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we returned and went back to the water park. But the water park
something
changed.
had transpired.
Yes.
I think what happened is now it was Friday.
Yes.
Because we were there Wednesday. We were
Wednesday
Thursday.
night and all day Thursday.
Friday morning, they definitely had an all-staff meeting.
Yeah.
And talked about rules. Because all of a sudden, Clementine couldn't go on a bunch of rides that she'd been going on for 2 days. And you and Jude did not handle it very well.
No, we did not. No, we did
I mean,
not.
she was sad. She cried. By the third time she got turned away, she did come down the stairs crying.
Yeah.
So she was sad, but she got over it. But
Yeah.
you and Jude were ready to take it out on 19-year-old
Absolutely.
water park attendant.
Well, the thing is, she was right there.
I mean, a centimeter.
Yes.
It wasn't even a full inch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she had been put up to the same height things the first day.
Yeah, it's like they raised them.
Yeah, and everybody was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was so upset, is because she doesn't know. She doesn't understand. And so we had just spent, the last 12 hours the day before doing all these things, and now you're saying no. And what I didn't like was that it was just this smile. She just kept smiling at me. And so eventually I did tell her that she needed to stop smiling at me. But it was all fine.
It turned out fine.
It worked out.
There
Everything
were more
was
than enough
fine.
rides that she could go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Or slides. I keep on calling them rides.
next year it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
She'll grow again.
Probably won't be a problem next week.
Right.
She was so close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic trip. Hurricane was our star of the show. That was the ultimate for the family. And that's the one I think that may have gotten the old bobblehead hurting.
Yeah.
That was a ride.
Yeah,
that
that
wasn't
was
a
a
water
ride.
slide. That was a ride. Would recommend as a trip. Is there anything that you think you would do different?
No, not a thing.
Yeah.
I think we crushed it. I think we nailed it. I think getting out, not saying you have to drive an hour.
Yeah.
But getting out because we were there for 4 days.
Yeah.
And getting out of the resort for a day was great. Even if you're not driving an hour to go to an activity, I think getting out.
Yeah, going to, and there's
somewhere.
tons of stuff to do to
Yeah.
get you away for a second.
Yeah. The drive was fast. The kids didn't touch their tablets the whole drive home.
Yeah.
They just like talked to each other.
Yeah.
And like laughed and stuff.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was so cute.
We were letting them be very aggressive with their language in the car.
They were allowed to swear. On the car ride home only. They were allowed to swear. And then we said, as soon as we get home, it's over.
It was like an Eddie Murphy stand-up show in the back. It was just non-stop combinations.
So when we cross over that water, we're out of Wisconsin and into Minnesota.
So then we're gonna say, you Wisconsin, you
Oh.
As we were, we have kind of like a little like curve to get to our street. And as we were going down that curve, it was dark out. It was just like, I can see our house. Get it out. This is your last corner. Once we get in the driveway, it's over. There were a lot of F-bombs.
The F-bombs were raining.
The combinations are funny too. They put together combinations that aren't used.
Yeah. It's not exactly right. You motherfucker, fat asshole. And then we decided, once we returned on our...
That's the one mistake we made. We bribed the kids
Yes.
to get out of because we could have stayed and gone on slides all day. We bribed them to get out
My
with
skin
Moana.
on Saturday morning, my skin was so dry
Yeah.
and so itchy.
Yeah.
I couldn't tolerate another, like, it physically probably would have been awful today. I would
Yeah.
have been itching still.
Yeah.
Yes, so we did bribe them with a movie.
But then the only thing is they didn't even, by the time we got home, we didn't even have to bribe them, but we'd already bought the tickets. So
It's true. We were, on our drive back, though, we found a place to eat in Eau Claire. And we watched some college football, so we got to see the rivalries brawl it up a little bit on the field.
that was good timing that we were stopped to watch that Ohio State brawl.
And then when we were leaving to get back on the road to go home, there was a near theft.
You mean when your phone fell out of your pocket and you were convinced that somebody stole it off the table in the 7 seconds that the table was unattended? And then it turned out it had just fallen into the parking lot?
Well, why did it fall into the parking lot?
Because you were racing me to the car and you were running exactly like Forrest Gump?
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah. Well, the only reason that I panicked so much is because on my watch, I have the thing that I can play the sound on it. And it wasn't registering it. And so that's never happened before. Like when we're in the house, it'll still register if I leave my phone in the garage. I can't hear it, of course, but it plays.
Mm-hmm.
But this was saying phone not connected. Looking back on it, I think you may have overreacted a little bit. And so I don't know why why you overreacted like that.
I certainly did.
But we found it, and everything was... Well, Jude found it, because I was playing tones on it. And you were sending Jude out to tell me something or ask me something. And I saw Jude's head come running towards me, and there was a car backing out, and Jude was running on the sidewalk, and then he stopped, And then he ran out to the middle of the parking lot. I'm like, what is he doing? And then he just stopped and picked up my phone. I was just like, oh my God, he found my phone. And Clementine just goes, he found your phone and that car was going to drive over it. It's just like, I saw that. Whoopsie daisies. I was running so fast.
Oh, so you could beat me to the car.
It was mostly to make you laugh.
It worked.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we got home and saw Milana. Thoughts?
Jude loved it.
He did.
He said it's his favorite movie. And that is all I needed.
Yes.
Nothing I think matters. Because he's 8 years old. He plays Fortnite and watches football all the time. But Moana 2 was his he said it like 4 times.
Yeah.
That was so good. Like he loved it. And it just made me so happy because it was the first movie he ever watched.
Yeah.
He was addicted to it when he was a baby. The first one. Just made me really happy.
I wonder what he likes so much about it. I mean, I think visually it's so impressive. And we saw it on the monster screen too. So it was the most specific thing. And I really think the only reason that they include that little hermit crab is to show off the animation of the sand. When that thing kind of digs through, I'm like, that looks like real wet sand. Cool. So that part of it is cool.
Well, obviously the music wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Like that was, but I actually had very low expectations because I saw that it was started as a series. It was supposed to be a series, and then they decided to change it into a movie.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, that's a recipe for disaster. So I went in thinking it was going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised. I liked it.
Yeah.
I cried. Jude was happy. Call it a win. Except for the worst thing happened when you get in the theater and somebody's sitting in your seats. I'm just like,
when you came home, I come walking out with a drink and something else, I don't know, and you just stand up, look at me, and just go. And this is what I'm talking about. We talked about this the last time. It was a command. And what did I do? I spun on my heel as directed and walked and I'm like, what did I do? What did I do wrong?
I didn't do this.
And then you're like, I think there are people in our seats. And I was looking at you like, this is your department. This isn't where
You had the ticket.
Yeah.
I couldn't confirm if they were not in our seat. You had the ticket.
All I did was walked over with my phone and I just held the email with my tickets in her direction. I didn't say a word. I didn't do anything. I just stood there like a statue whose sole purpose was to show a phone like this.
See my phone?
Yeah, she wouldn't look at it. And I just kept standing there. And then you just kept talking to me and not to her. You were like, she thinks that she doesn't know that this is D and not E. And I was like, this is D. And she just wasn't listening to us. And you just said it again. She thinks it's E. And I'm like, this is D. And she goes, this is D?
She did. And then she goes, you can't take me anywhere. And her husband didn't say a word the whole time.
She said, my husband's shaking his head right now.
And then there were people behind her. And I was like, well, I'm really sorry. It looks like someone's in your seats.
Yeah.
And she was just like, those are my kids.
I don't really understand what the arrangements all were.
She had her kids a row behind her.
Oh,
so her and her kids were all in the wrong seats. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
She thinks this is a D. And then Sunday was Christmas decorations. Christmas decorations day. We put up our decorations. You made the most amazing cookies I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Yeah, they were good. Gonna make some more of those, I think.
So good.
Brown butter.
We
Brown butter.
watched the single worst Christmas movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Noel Diary or something with the guy.
Noel Diaries.
With the guy from This Is Us.
Yes.
It was literally the worst movie I've ever seen.
It was not well done.
It was terrible.
I was just scrolling through stuff, and you know when sometimes you're just like, I know every second that passes moves me further into indecision. And we were like, just a Christmas movie. And the vibe wasn't like the kids were into it, so I'm like, I don't want to turn on a staple. Like, this isn't Home Alone time.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I'm just going to pick the first thing. And so I'm just like, I literally thought to myself, I'm like, how bad can it really be?
Moana 2, watch it. The Noel Diaries.
Last resort.
Live your life without ever watching this movie.
Very, very, very last resort. Or, you know, actually, though, this is the thing. Here's the thing. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Take it easy. Did we have fun watching it?
Well, we did kind of have fun watching it. But mostly just because we were making fun of it the whole time.
Right. But that's I think that could be the value in those movies.
I don't think that's why they make them.
Well, that's fine, but that doesn't mean that you can't take value from them. I mean, we were calling shots all over the place about, you know, how the movie was going to go. It was very fun.
It was fun. All right.
We laughed a lot.
All right, fine.
You got your shoulders massaged.
I stand corrected.
So, if you want to watch it, just call me. I'll come over. I'll rub your shoulders, and we'll make fun of it together.
Careful. I feel like you might be rubbing some pretty hairy backs.
Why?
I feel like the call is only going to come from gentlemen.
Oh yeah. Well, that's fine. That's fine. That was So that was a weekend. We did a lot. Mm-hmm. I think what I find most interesting is it's very fun. Why is it so out of date? Do you know what I mean?
Kyle Hari wasn't out of date.
I know. I mean, like
this one just is.
The town in general, like, just has that it's 2 generations old. It's like old motel signs.
There isn't really a reason to update it, I guess. I don't know.
Right. I don't know. It just seems like so many people go there and there's money to be made.
They are making the money. Why upgrade it when you can charge the same price and not upgrade your shit? Yeah,
that's true. That's true. It was a great weekend. I'm glad the Gophers won. Axe is home where it belongs. Wisconsin Dells was fun. I'm glad to be out of the chlorine. Any parting thoughts?
That's why I don't go in the hot tub.
Yeah.
I don't like itchy skin.
Yeah.
And I don't like my body temperature shifting so drastically so quickly.
That's true. Okay.
Should we go check on the kids?
Let's go check on the kids. See you next week, everybody.